Okay, so I will talk about the migration process from the old cartridge from the Oracle cartridge to the Postgres cartridge or Coral, because many of you are using the Oracle cartridge, but you are afraid to migrate your programs and data, because it's usually a very difficult thing to migrate, and that's why we made this small presentation and demo how to do that to help you. This is the agenda, so I will talk about the reasons, the strategy, the migration strategies that you can have, the migration steps, and in the end I will show a demo migration. The reasons to migrate, usually you want to migrate to get the new features, especially the hit as you draw feature, which you could see many times now. The performance of the new cartridges are better. They handle huge databases better, or simply just getting the latest developments of Camexon are good reasons to migrate. And in case of JPC, it is the Postgres is an advantage that it is cheaper, and usually for big companies there are some company-wide decisions which database people should use, and Oracle is not that popular nowadays as it was before, because of the pricing, I think, and there are some companies that need to move to Postgres for a company decision. So it's not in people's hand; they have to move. So JPC has high availability. Coral has this is working on RDS, on Amazon RDS. So these are also very important points for people to choose the new products. About migration strategy, it is important for large companies, for large systems, large ecosystems to have some kind of strategy. And if you want to migrate to JPC from JOC, it is more like migrating from Oracle to Postgres. And there are two strategies which are very different, and you have to choose from them. The first is, both has pros and cons. So the first is just moving everything at once to Postgres from Oracle. That's I think it's very difficult if you have many client systems. If you have only a few, it may be possible. But as soon as you did it, you can turn off your old setup and you are good to go. So that's the pro. Or you can do it step by step. So just install the new Postgres and JPC, move your clients just step by step as soon as they are finished with the migration. But the difficult thing is that you have to keep the old setup, the Oracle setup live until all of the client systems have finished the migration, and you also need to keep your data synchronized, which is not easy if you are talking about two different databases on two different systems. So both has pros and cons. We don't want to decide which is the better. It really depends on your system. I just advise thinking about it before starting some kind of migration to what is the best strategy to do that. And for Coral, if you want to change from JOC to Coral, you don't have that problem at all, because no synchronization needed. You just install Coral for the same columns as JOC and you are good to go. And you can move your subsystems step by step without any problems. So it's an easier thing if you if you do that. And about migration, there are some migration steps that are non-cartridge related, and there are some that are cartridge specific. And first, about non-cartridge related, that means if you go to JPC, then you are moving, again, I have to highlight that you are moving from Oracle to PostgreSQL, and that's the difficult point. You can do it manually. That means all your code has to be converted to the PostgreSQL language. And if you do it manually, it may be very difficult if you have a very large system. With a small system, it's probably not that difficult. So if you have a very large system, maybe Enterprise DB is the best solution, which allows you to have a Postgres engine, but with Oracle compatibility, the PL/SQL compatibility. So all the code that you had, they promise that they will work with the new one, with the Postgres as well. And we also provide releases for EDB on request. If you move from JOC to Choral, then there are of course no non-cartridge related migration steps, because we are staying on Oracle. And now comes our part, the cartridge specific steps first from JOC to JPC, and I can tell you that it is not difficult, the data migration itself, because you just you export your data from Oracle, import it to Postgres, you install JPC, and the only step that might be difficult, but not that difficult, is converting the column type from text that that was CLOB or BLOB in Oracle to a molecule type of column in Postgres. It's not difficult, but that's the only step that I would call specific for JPC. I will show that it's really not difficult. Then you are able to create indexes. So that's the data migration part. If you go from JOC to Choral, you can simply install Choral, create indexes with Choral on the same columns as you did it with JOC without any problems, and you are ready to go with both cartridges working. I will show a small demo for that as well, so you will see that later. So if you are finished with migrating the data, you have to migrate your code too. And when you do that, I think the most difficult part is finding all those codes, or all those calls for cartridge calls in your code. And then you have to change it. And it is not straightforward, but not that difficult as well. Although we don't have automatic conversion tool, I think it would be very difficult to write one. But we have a guide, a documentation. I will show the references later. What I want to highlight is that the core chemistry engine is the same, except tautomer handling, which was improved. So if you get differences, they will be systematic, not like changing software between vendors. So the core engine is the same. That's important. The other point that I have to highlight, that you had index and search options before probably, and you don't have that in the new cartridges. It was redesigned, and we have query transformations and molecule types or subtypes. I will show some examples how they have to be converted. And the typical problem that people first see, that they don't know that the default query format has changed, and the results are different, but it is very easy to solve. But first, it would raise some eyebrows why it didn't work. I have examples for that as well, and there are still some missing functionalities like similarity descriptors and some others that may be implemented later in the future or on request. And you won't be alone with the migration. We can also help, but we have a very good guide, a very detailed guide to how to migrate from JOC to JPC, and we also have comparisons if you see different results for the cartridges. There are some very tiny details that which could cause some small differences in the results. So I will go to the demo now. I will first start with JOC and Choral. So here I have a JOC installed, and I simply installed Choral for the same user without any specific steps. So it's just a simple install. You see that the JC compare from JOC works. The sample search or some kind of search works with Choral as well. I set up a table with 1,000 rows. I will show how they look like. They have an ID, a structure, and a mole weight column. So a very simple table. I have a standardization file. I try to show it now. I think you can see that there is some kind of standardization. It's not that important what it is specifically. And I drop the old index and I create a JOC index. So probably this is what most of you have. Usually you turn on halt on error, never fail or something like that, just to get rid of the errors. And I set up this standardization configuration file. So this is some kind of typical index creation parameters. And now I want to do it for the Choral as well. I prepared, so I said that the search options and index options will be, some of them will go to the type file. So I will show a type file for you. I prepared UGM demo, like user group meeting demo, and UGM demo tau for the totemer type, and they are stored on the JChem servers. So I had a UGM demo type file. It has a type ID, totemer is turned off. There is some settings for stereo assumption, and we have a standardizer file which I will show you, and basically that's it, some fingerprint configurations, but that's not important now. And I want to show that XML file with the standardization. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's the same that I showed you in the database. So the same aromatization and transformations are here as well. So I didn't have to change anything, just put that standardization into the type files. And yeah, I wanted to show the totemer file as well. Yes, the only difference is that the totemerization is set to generic. So I have two types now. One is a normal, let's say normal, and with generic totemerization, and the same standardization setup. I wasn't talking about halt on error. That's because halt on error is not necessary, because the newest releases work with the same settings as halt on error. never fail or something like that. So you won't get errors for missing molecules. You have other tools, other functions to find them if you want to. So now I'm ready to create a Choral index because I have a type now on the structure column, and the index type is UGM-DEMO underscore index type. So it's not the tautomer type, but the simple type that I use now. And it is on the same structure column as I have with the JOC index. So now I have the same column index, and I will search first with a Sims2 structure or with JC compare, so with JOC, and this is the Choral statement to do the same thing. Not much difference, only the third parameter have to be written differently, but it's an easy transformation. And as you see, 30 hits for the first one, 30 hits for the second one. So it's basically, you're basically getting the same results. I collected some more difficult queries with some options. Here I turned on ignore tetrahedral stereo parameter, for example. So I turned it to yes. I have 13 hits here, and here this is the place for the query transformation. So this time it's not a search option, so it's not an option of the search, but it's a transformation of the query itself. It is not, the difference is not that clear for Choral, but you will see at JPC that the syntax is more different. Anyway, you get the same results if you transform the options to these query parameters. I've got I was talking about the difference between smiles and smarts, and I tried the same query or with a different query structure, and I've got 2 hits here, and I did it with Choral as well, and I've got 30 hits. So this was the point where something, you could think that something is wrong, and yes, something is wrong, that the default query type or input type is smart in JOC. So this is this is treated as smarts, but in the new cartridge it is treated as smiles. So you have to transform to smarts first as the second query to get the same results, and that's very simply just put the word smarts in brackets behind the query, and now you get the 2 hits, so you get the same hits as in JOC. So it is not difficult, but first you can do this mistake, but you can correct it easily. So the second example, a simple example again, that the tautomer search works differently. I mean that in JOC you had this search parameter tautomer search yes, for example. Here, without the tautomer search parameter, you don't get hits. With the second query, with the tautomer search turned on, you've got the hit for a duplicate search, and for that I created the tautomer index in Choral as well. You see the index type is UGM-DEMO TOW on the same column again. That's important. So I could add another index as well. And now if you do a duplicate search with the original type, you don't get hits. But if you use the UGM demo to search, so the U type, the totemer type, you get the hit. So that I think that's not difficult to change these queries. Of course, if you have more complex queries, it might get a bit more difficult. And now, so this was the part that the transformation of queries and structures from JOC to Choral. But what about JPC? So if you want to convert to JPC, move from JOC to JPC, first you need to transfer the data, and I will export the data for this table, for this UGM table first, UGM demo table first. There are many ways to do that. I use this SQL developer tool, but almost all tools can do some export. I selected the table, I hit export, I don't need the DLS, and I exported it to CSV. We have this also in our documentation. I hit next, and finish. And it's a bit slow because my computer is very far away from the server. But as you can see, it exports the structures. But to be honest, I cheated a bit, and I did it before, just to not to wait for that. And I uploaded it to the server where the JPC was installed. And yes, this is the file. So this is ID, structure, mole weight, and the contents of the table. So it's a very simple file with separated values. And now I will go to my JPC or my Postgres database. I installed the same type files as for Choral because they are the same. The same can be used. Now I drop the table and I create it with the same structure, only that the structure column that was a CLOB in Oracle is a molecule type with a UGM demo subtype, so that type file and the mole weight. I created the table, and there is a simple copy command to import that file from a CSV. You can give the file name, and it is already imported, so it wasn't difficult as well. I've got the 1,000 rows here, and you can see that the data is really here with the structure as well. And I'm already creating the index, and I'm ready to go. But if you use other tool, I will simulate that, and then you don't have this. You don't create the table as structure UGM demo, but you maybe create it as text, as structured text. I've got the same table, so this is probably your starting data, and you want to create an index. You won't be able to do that. It says that that no operator is found because text can't be indexed in JPC. You have to convert the column, but this means 5 steps only. So I renamed the original column, add the U1 with the UGM demo type. I copy the content of the text data to the structure column, commit it, and drop the original column. And I've got the same table now with the same structure. So 5 steps, and you are good to go again. And now the indexing will work. So the index is ready. So that's the data migration. So I think data migration is really simple And now I want to show almost the same as for Choral, that for a simple query, I left the original query from JOC here that has, if you remember that it had 30 hits. This is the query with the JPC and the Postgres syntax. You've got 30 hits as well. This is the operator of substructure search. Yeah, you need to do the translation or transformation that we were speaking before. The syntax is different. When you did a query transform, here it is a function, so you transform really the query with the transformation. This ignored tetragonal serial, and you get the same hits as you did with the search parameter before. You have to be careful again with the smice and smarts, because if you don't do it, you will use the queries as smice while you maybe used it as smarts before. And the transformation is by this molecule function, where the first parameter is your query, the second is smarts, so it's not difficult as well. And you've got the same hits as with JOC. The tautomerization is a bit different than in Choral. You need to add a new column because the molecule has a type, which is JChem demo type, and the column can have only one type. So you need to add a new column and copy the structures to the new column. And now you can have the duplicate search that you wanted on the original column. Then you don't get hits because tautomer search is off, or you can use the new one or the tautomer column, and you get one. So this is a bit different than in Choral, but I think you can handle that. If you don't want two types, usually you want one type of search, then you need only one column to do that. So that's I think that's the preferable way. So that's all that I wanted to show you. Again, you can see the references here that can guide you in the process, or the team also can help you if you are stuck with something. We are open to discussions now and later as well. So if you have questions or remarks, then please tell us.